Good dusk everyone, welcome back to your beloved Dutch chess speedrun, which is not very speedy because I only play this variant once a week. In case you want to thoroughly learn the rule of the variant, check out this video through the link in the description below. But I believe a smart person like you will easily understand everything just by watching this video. And without any further ado, let's get into today's duck. e4. c5. These days I have been doubting whether or not c5 is the best first move for black. It seems that white pieces get too much advantage of a first move for this specific variant. e5. That should blunders a pawn, knight c6, duck on f3. There are only two ways to defend that pawn, and duck on f3 just happens to prevent both of those moves at the same time. Queen e2. That doesn't work. f4. Knight g6, duck blocking the pawn. d3. That bishop also doesn't defend the pawn. Queen f3. I'll go back. Knight c3. I want to push my d-pawn, knight f6. This is actually pretty problematic though. Having a two-pawn advantage is practically not enough to get a victory, and if he can use his duck to block my d-pawn, my dark bishop is blocked by the duck and my own knight, while my light bishop is blocked by the d-pawn and I also have to refrain from pushing the b-pawn. Never mind. d5. Okay, I mouse-slipped the duck on the wrong square, but just being able to push the d-pawn is already good enough. This game is now mine to win. Knight takes d5. That blunders a horsey. g4. He wants g5 after my knight retreats. There is also the bishop g5 threat. h6 shall prevent them both. He can still push it and take with the bishop though, but then I'll have an open rook. Bishop g2. Solidifying. I need my knight there to provoke c4, ruining his queenside pawn structure to discourage a long castle. b3. Here we go. Queen h4 check. Castle. For some reason I just want to clarify that queen to e1 is not winning the game. That is not how this website works. If you understand then you understand. Bishop d7. Bishop b2. Bishop d6. Knight g3. Knight e5. Queen f2. I'll take this pawn. Duck on f3. Very tricky. Not only my knight is attacking his queen, but my queen is also threatening to capture on h2 checkmate in 1. Therefore now he has to either push his h-pawn or put his duck on h3 to stop the checkmate. And in case you are wondering why didn't I put the duck on h3 to guarantee my queen taking his h-pawn, my opponent actually has bishop f3 duck on g2, letting his queen defend his h-pawn and counterattack on my g4 knight. Therefore I decided to put my duck on f3, completely clumping everything down in one place. He saves the queen, but loses the king. Queen takes h2. Checkmate in 1. First game's a win, second game let's go. e4, duck on f3. Aha! So instead of negating my development, this guy is using his duck to secure his own development, arguing that I cannot stop knight f3 coming next. But guess what? Knight f6. Duck on e5. Ha! He can't even push e5 to attack my knight, and knight f3 blunders a pawn. He has to play something else, and it has to be a defending move. Knight c3. Okay, now I don't have any ways to stop knight f3 and annoy him any further. The game is back to normal. Knight f3. At least he learnt his lesson, has used his duck to block my pieces. d6. Knight d5. That blunders a pawn. Actually I don't know. Maybe he wants something like queen e2 e6, we trade knights and he wins a pawn back. That also seems like a legit continuation. This game is going to be very tricky. queen e2. Okay, he mouse slipped the duck on e6 instead of f6. f5. Now my knight is safe. b4. e6. Queen b5 check. Very aggressive. But that blunders a horsey. a6, duck on d7. Knight f6 check. I'll take with pawn. No reason to pull my knight back, and a pawn on f6 can also prevent a potential knight g5 trading knights in the future. There is no future. That game almost became a complete bloodbath had the continuation I said happened. I should have put the duck on f6 to secure my knight's retreat. But anyway, 5th game, let's go. 3rd game and 4th game were all free wins. I don't want to waste your time with them. e4, duck on e5. Knight c6. Normally I'd play knight f3 here preparing for d4, but no. We go f4 today. The duck can keep my king safe. Trust. e6. Knight f3. Knight f6 will be very convenient. Very convenient. e5, duck takes away d5. Knight e4. That blunders a knight. d3, duck on c5. His knight is trapped. A desperado. Of course I'm not a coward. Alright. Come at me, baby. g6. Bishop e2. And you know what? I think I'll let his bishop come out the normal way. I have some very good center control here, so who knows, maybe by risking my king as a bait, I can actually trap his pontiff. Bishop c5. Rook f1. Just for safety, in case things don't go well, I can still change the plan and move my king back. And I'm not a coward. Castle. Bishop e3. b6. d4, duck on e7. Bishop e4. a3. And I put the duck on the wrong square. In my defense, I was recording at midnight, but at the end of the day, it's just a bishop. It's not like I cannot win this game just because I missed a free bishop. Knight bd2. d5. En passant is possible, but c4 instead. Bishop h4 check. That blunders a bishop. d takes c4. I cannot take that pawn because b5 duck d2 can trap my knight. Knight back to f3. Bishop b7. I can take with bishop. a6. Knight e4, duck securing f6. King h8. Knight f6 regardless. Knight takes d4. That blunders a horsey. Bishop e4. That blunders a bishop. This guy is panicking. b5. Retreat. a5. Knight f6. b4. Aha! I think I have an idea. Queen to e1. b takes a3. Let's hold my idea for a moment. Need to stop that pawn first. a4. Knight c6, duck on c8. His queen is trapped. Rook k6. Knight takes d8. His time runs out. We are very close to 1900 rating points, but no, I was very sleepy at that point. The video ends here. Have a great day.